the theme for the month of March, and Rama used to say that the month of March was always the month of change, that the winds of change blow in the month of March, which I always loved because he used to define all the different types of wind when we would go out into the desert, and the wind of change, so beautiful. But at any rate, that goes right along with reinventing yourself. This month we thought we would do learning something new. We would take on the mystical task of learning something new. And I was thinking this morning about a story that I heard Rama relate. I'll relate it to you because stories are good. It makes things lock in our mind. It makes us remember things. But Rama, as many of us, was a very sensitive spiritual being and often didn't he never, he never liked to be around what he called humans, people who are not consciously on a spiritual path. I mean, I think that's normal for people on a spiritual path because it's often quite painful to be around someone who's unconscious and projecting their stuff onto us, isn't it? But so he always kept very much to himself. But he had this dog named Vayu. Vayu is the wind in Hindu. And the dog was very friendly, which got Rama into all kinds of predicaments. And he was living in Malibu on the beach, and he would walk Vayu up and down the beach. And there was this 92, I think she was, 92-year-old woman who lived in a house just down the beach. And Vayu always wanted to go and visit this woman. And whenever he couldn't find Vayu, he could be assured that he was over visiting the 92-year-old woman. And he'd have to go and try and call him because he didn't want to engage with this woman. Well, finally, one day they're walking down the beach, and Vayu runs over to see his friend, and Rama can't get out of it. She invites him over for a cup of tea. So he goes in, having a cup of tea, and this woman, in her china teacup, and and he notices that she has a brand new grand piano. And he says, "Wow, it's a beautiful piano." She said, "Yes, I'm just taking up learning to play the piano." And Rama thought to himself, why, at 92, would you take up a task like learning to play the piano? And so he broached the issue with her, and she said, it's because it keeps me young. I learn something new. I try to learn something new all the time. And she said, that's why I've lived to be 92. And I always remember that story. And that's the idea, is when we learn something new, we engage. All of the circuits have to come online, and we totally engage. We break out of our routine, out of the norm, out of the doldrums of everyday life, and suddenly we engage life in a new way. And that brings a whole new energy flooding through the being. And really, from a spiritual level, our being loves change. It thrives on change. It's just that we've been programmed in a society, a patriarchal society, to be afraid of change, to get things into a pattern and keep them there in a routine, and not to move away from the herd, the bewildered herd, as the global elite call us. So that's the idea. We want to learn something new and to take on a task not so much for the week but for the whole month. So to begin the process of learning a new language, or to learn to cook Indian food, or I don't know, what else?
Play the piano.
Play the piano.
Make collages, or, do something artistic, something that juices up your creativity. Collages are when you use different kinds of, you use paint, you use paper, you use glitter, you use images, and you, it's like art using many different kinds of visual forms.
Right.
It's very cool. Anything that allows you to tap into that energy, the energy of the universe, which is constant creativity, as we talked about in the newsletter. I hope that came through.
Yeah, it did, yeah. It might be a good idea also to do something that's completely out of your reality right now. So, for example, if you're not very good at singing, take like singing lessons, or you don't move very much during the day because you're sitting down working, take like a sports app or dancing.
Oh, that would be great to like take on, getting in shape, joining a
Yeah.
gym or whatever it takes, right?
Yeah. And actually take a class, get professional, or go to the YMCA. They have lots of classes. Or contact somebody who has a school and do belly dancing. Yeah.
Yeah, I started tango classes last week.
Oh, there you
and
go.
yeah, we're having tango classes in my community, and I love dancing. I used to love to dance, and I've always thought the tango was gorgeous. And here I am in South America, so why not? But there's this moment that you come to, and it's like, okay, now all my traveling's over, and tango is on Monday night. Do I really want to go? I have all these emails, all this work. And so there's this moment that we have, which is really kind of, if you drill down into it, fear of the unknown. What if I step on somebody's toes, or what if I don't like it, or what I have to dance too close to a yucky guy? you know? And I identified that when it came up, and I went, God, that's really silly. Just go for one class. And if you don't like it, you don't ever have to go back. I had a ball. I was in a state of ecstasy when I finished, came home and watched tango on YouTube. So, so just be prepared that there's always that little bit of resistance, right? That little bit of fear of something new that comes up. And also, we've been talking about project management a little bit in Tea in the Garden. So you can break it down. Don't put learn Spanish on your to-do list. Just put for the first week to research the best Spanish course on CD, or to ferret out a good Spanish teacher. And take it step by step so that you move through any resistance that's there in a more gradual, gentle way.
That's a great idea. I like that.
Yeah, there's a story that I'd love to share about this, if I'm clear enough. Can you hear me, or am I cutting out?
You're okay.
Okay, because I had just remembered about this making a commitment to do something and taking it on, and making the steps to do it and all of that. And I remember at one time Rama he used to always give us various assignments, start doing this, start doing that, stop doing this, now do this, as mystical tasks. And at one point he wanted everybody to be, in our little group, to be doing aerobics classes. And I was working like 2 hours. It was when we lived in Boston. I was working 2 hours away in Rhode Island, and but I was going to make it back for my aerobics class this one day. It was very important. I was going to have to get back there, and I got back, and the class had been canceled, and I was so disappointed. But interestingly, kind of like at the end of the week when we had this little discussion about who had done what, and I told him what happened, and he said, it doesn't matter. The fact that you took the effort, made the effort to go there and take the class did the trick. Didn't matter. In the end, you couldn't do it, but the fact that you were willing to take all the steps and get yourself there, it was as if you had virtually done it.
Oh, so, I love that. I love that. That's
yeah,
so
mystical. So I just remembered that as you were telling the other story. That it's the inner dynamics of making a commitment about something and then following through. It's like you're saying to the universe, I'm serious. I'm for real. And it's really kind of cool and fun, and I'm really glad he made us do all these different weird things.
Yeah, because as soon as you make that commitment, the energy of change kicks in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it puts you on this creative role where you're adapting moment by moment to what's being for. You have the capacity. You're out of the rut.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that's why he had us move to so many new cities. We moved once a year. And you cannot move from LA to Boston, and you don't know the streets of Boston. You don't know your way around. You've got to hit the ground running, get a job, get a roof over your head, and you're engaged. All the circuits come on. That's the point. And all the, that's as we evolve, the circuits are on more and more full time, and we're totally in the moment, totally engaged. And so it's just an exercise in conditioning the body to be in full engaged mode.
Yeah. Very cool. Oh, and the other cool thing is that the astrology happens to be very much in favor of being able to make really rapid shifts right now. I was checking up on the astrology today, so yeah, we're definitely in sync with what the heavens are telling us to do at the moment. This is the theme for the month of March 2014, commitment. And that's what it takes in order to reinvent yourself, in order to just do it, like, the old Nike ads. Just do it. You don't have to do it all at once. You can do it in baby steps, but you do it.
Yeah, and just as you're talking, reinventing is not so much about, shuffling the deck. You have a deck of cards, you shuffle the deck and lay it out in a different format, but it's about dropping cards. You allow the universe to reinvent you. That's
Yeah.
the trick. You allow the winds of change to blow through your being and reinvent you. And you do that by really committing to just dropping some of this egoic baggage, that we've been carrying for a while. Say, I'm going to get serious about this now, this process, this has to go. Really going to look at this in a new way, or I'm finally going to get that appointment for a private session and get on with it.
Yeah, dropping the ballast, I think, is the phrase.
What does that mean, ballast?
Ballast is what holds, it's like what holds a balloon down when the balloon's going to take off, hot air balloon, or, I think the term's used in a couple of different places, but it's what you, it's what you anchor with. You drop the ballast, you drop the anchors, and then you can really move.